Every decade, there'll always be a team or two that will capture multiple titles in a 5-year span. It's been clear one franchise has stood head and shoulders above everybody else since the NBA started. Besides the 70s, where the Knicks and Celtics each won 2 rings during that era, no team repeated for a 19-year span. How's it going, guys? My name's Wilson. Today, we'll take a look at how every NBA Dynasty ended and the series that said farewells to their amazing ride. Starting from the very beginning, the NBA's first superstar, George Mikan, and the Minneapolis Lakers, the 6'10 center carried the league on his shoulders. Way before Magic and Bird were even born, the Basketball Association of America and National Basketball League merged to form the NBA in 1949. After winning the BAA title, Mikan knocked off the Washington Capitals and Syracuse Nationals. The main reason why the Lakers didn't win in 51, Mikan fractured his leg before the Western Division Finals. Mikan beat the Knicks twice, knocked off the Nationals again, this time in a 7-game series. His final championship, from 49 to 54, the Pioneer averaged 24.5 points, 14 rebounds in the playoffs. 29-year-old Mikan announced his retirement right after due to injuries sustained throughout his career. Minneapolis failed to make the finals without him. Mikan returned briefly for 30 games in 56, but was a shell of himself, retired for good after. He was declared the greatest player of the first half of the 20th century by the Associated Press. Bill Russell's Boston Celtics, 1969, 11 championships in 13 years, the greatest winner in all professional sports, the king of all dynasties. His leadership, excellence, and greatness will never be duplicated. Having as many as 8 Hall of Famers in the roster, including Bob Cousy, Sam Jones, and John Havlicek, the C's prevailed every Game 7 Russell played in. Knocked off the St. Louis Hawks in 7 games of the 57 finals, Russell suffered an ankle injury in Game 3 of the 58 finals. That's why his team didn't win. Went on to win 8 straight. The Lakers were victims to 4 of those series, 2 more for the St. Louis Hawks and the San Francisco Warriors in 64. After 66, Red Auerbach stepped down as coach, with Russell taking over, becoming the first ever player coach. The odds were against Boston. With aging players, their title streak was snapped by Wilt Chamberlain's Sixers in 67. After winning 54 games the next year, the Celtics took Game 7 from the heavy favorite Sixers, went on to beat the Lakers in the finals again. LA then added superstar Wilt Chamberlain. While Sam Jones, 35, Russell, 34, bound to retire after the 69 season, 48 regular season wins, faced the heavily favored Lakers in the finals 6 times in 8 years, down 2 games to 1. Jones hit a game-winning jumper in Game 4, series tied 3-3 heading into the Forum. Lakers owner Jack Kent Cooke cost his team the series. When a motivated Russell found out, the Lakers staff added balloons from the rafters, told his teammates, "The Lakers cannot beat us." The team came out on fire, outrunning the younger Lakers, succeeding, had a 17-point lead. Jerry West did all he could with a 42-point triple-double, but Don Nelson had the luckiest bounce late in the game, a dagger in the coffin, a perfect ending for a near-perfect career. Boston would miss the playoffs, going 34-48 after Russell retired. It still haunts Jerry West to this day. His Lakers couldn't beat the Celtics, going 0-6 against them in the finals during the 60s. Larry Bird's Celtics in the 80s, knocked off by the Bad Boy Pistons in 88, winning 3 titles from 81 to 86, led by Bird, McHale, and Parrish, including 5 trips to the finals. The C's played their best basketball in 86, a near-perfect season. Bird capped off 3 straight MVPs, but things took a turn when second overall pick Limbias died just 2 days after being drafted from cocaine overdose. Parrish, Bird, and Dennis Johnson were in their 30s. McHale played with a broken foot the whole season. The dynasty could have ended in 87 when the Bucks took them to 7 games in the semis, or when Detroit was on verge taking a 3-2 series lead before Bird stole the inbounds pass from Isaiah, leading to a DJ game winner, eventually prevailed in 7, only to fall to the Lakers in the finals. But in the 88 semifinals, the 57-win Celtics needed a classic 7-game series to edge out Dominique Wilkins and the Hawks, being a plus 350 in the preseason title odds, Detroit plus 600. Blew a 16-point lead in the 5th game, Detroit rallied in overtime, Pistons closed out the series in 6, helped Bird to averaging under 20 points on 35% shooting for the series. K.C. Jones' last game as head coach, enough to drive everybody into near retirement. DJ, Ainge, and Parrish were banged up. The franchise wouldn't make it back to the conference finals in 24 years. Bird played 6 games the following year, banged up by injuries. The team broke down in the blink of an eye. Bird even said that Bad Boy defense could bother the Lakers if they were allowed to hold, grab, and push James Worthy. It would be their advantage. Leading us to 1989, the same Bad Boys ending the Showtime Lakers dynasty. They could have ended LA's run the same year as Boston's, but Thomas was severely banged up in the 88 finals, falling to the Lakers Lakers in the controversial 7-game series. Kareem was on verge of retirement, over age 40. Magic still in the prime of his career in the late 80s, named the '89 MVP. His Lakers seem as strong as ever. 57 wins, Worthy 20.5 points, Brian Scott 19.6, AC Green over 13 a game, all below age 30. Jabbar turned 42 before the playoffs. LA looked unstoppable, sweeping the West, going an incredible 11-0 before the finals. Showtime the preseason favorites as expected, a plus 350. Detroit second, plus 400. The 63-win Bad Boys with Prime Thomas, Prime Dumars, traded Adrian Dantley for Mark Aguirre, a more polished Dennis Rodman, and Vinnie Johnson off the bench. One of the most stacked teams all time. An unfortunate twist turned for the worse for the Lakers. Brian Scott was hurt before the finals, missing the whole series. Magic got hurt in Game 2. Without their starting backcourt, LA didn't stand a chance. Magic desperately tried playing Game 3, but after 5 minutes, the pain was too unbearable. Although the last 3 games were close, Los Angeles didn't have enough in the 4th, got swept by the healthier Pistons. Joe Dumars was the best player all series, averaged 27.3 points. If Johnson and Scott didn't get hurt, Detroit still likely win the finals, but it would have been a lot closer. LA was still good for 2 more years, but fell to the Suns in the semis in '90 and lost to Jordan's Bulls in the '91 finals. The Lakers were no longer Showtime of the '80s in '91. Months after, Magic's career was cut short with HIV. The Chicago Bulls ending the Bad Boys in '91 after 2 rings in 3 finals appearances, knocking off Jordan's Bulls 3 straight times as the villain of the NBA, disrupting the passing of the torch from Magic to Jordan. Detroit continued being the best team in '90, where the Bulls would be their toughest competition. In the series where the home team won every game, Pippen had a migraine in Game 7, easily winning and knocked off the Blazers in 5. The following year, the Bad Boys were still the preseason favorites to win the title, a plus 350, the Bulls plus 700. Thomas just turned 30 heading into the playoffs. Dumars and Rodman in their primes. A motivated prime Jordan was destined to not only finally beat the Bad Boys, but annihilate, destroy, and humiliate them so badly they refused to shake hands after the sweep. The Pistons wouldn't make it back to the conference finals until 2003. The Bulls became the next dynasty, being the team of the 90s, which leads us to 1998. No team could dethrone Jordan in the finals. The only thing to break up the franchise, as seen in The Last Dance, GM Jerry Krause being jealous of Jordan's success and failing to negotiate a new contract with head coach Phil Jackson, saying he can go 82 and bleeping 0 and he still wouldn't be coming back. Jordan was fully committed to Phil. Win or lose, 98 was the final season. Regardless of the outcome, Jordan, Pippen, and Rodman's contracts were expiring. MJ still the best player in the game, the regular season MVP, All-Star Game MVP, leading scorer, led his Bulls to 62 wins. Pippen missed almost half the season. Jordan capped off a 45-point performance in Game 6 of the finals, a historic run, ending the Jordan's Bulls era. It was an absolute travesty. Krause didn't let the team defend the crown for another year. Jordan's still angry to this day. He strongly believed his team could have won a 7th title. The next dynasty, Kobe and Shaq's Lakers, ended in 04. A three-peat with Prime O'Neal, the most unstoppable force in the 21st century. Young Kobe was the best shooting guard in the league. The closer late in games, it seemed like they were destined to perhaps win more titles than Jordan and Pippen, but drama and tensions played a role to their breakup. After Shaq's 3rd straight finals MVP decided to undergo foot surgery near the start of the season, which angered Kobe and led to the team's low start. O'Neal missed 15 games in 03, lost to San Antonio in the semis. The team retooled by adding old Gary Payton and Karl Malone, making them the title favorites, but the Kobe-Shaq feud got out of hand, had to be separated in practice, went 56 and 26 overall, but waiting for them in the finals, the hungry defensive Detroit Pistons, resulting in one of the greatest finals upset ever. Detroit won in 5 by an average margin of over 13 points. Malone retired, Payton went to the Celtics, O'Neal traded to Miami. It would take Kobe's Lakers a couple years to be true contenders again. Miami Heat 2014 ended by San Antonio. 2 titles in 4 years, 4 finals. In many ways, the Heat did underachieve, having a super team, favorites to win the title in all 4 of the preseason odds, lost to Dallas in 2011, took care of business against OKC and San Antonio. While Wade was past his prime in 2014, the Spurs got revenge, capitalized on Miami's weakness, and punished them with effective ball movement. Knowing the Heat had no real center and a weaker bench with old players, Miami being too dependent on LeBron was a disaster in 2014. James then decided to take his talent back to Cleveland. The end of the Spurs dynasty 2015, knocked off by the Clippers in the first round. After an impressive 2014 title run, San Antonio, once again the favorites to come out of the West, had the second best odds to win it all, won 55 games in the loaded conference, somehow got the 6th seed. Kawhi missed 18 games, Parker 14, Ginobili 12. It was an absolute travesty. Portland got the 4th seed, winning just 51 games because they won their division. It should have been Memphis San Antonio in the first round instead. The Spurs had to face the 3-seeded Clippers, just a game better, a legit contender, 56 wins in the first round series. That could have been a conference finals matchup. In the classic 7 games, 39-year-old Tim Duncan still put in work, averaged 18 and 11. Kawhi 20 a game, superstar Blake Griffin 24-13, over 7 assists, Chris Paul 23 and 8. The Spurs would have won a couple more regular season games if it wasn't for those injuries. 2 more wins, they would have been the 2 seed instead. CP3 hit a game-winning banker in Game 7, refusing to go down in round 1. The 2015 Spurs were absolutely good enough to challenge the up-and-coming Warriors. Ended up signing LaMarcus Aldridge in the summer, won a franchise-best 67 games in 2016, but Duncan on his last legs, no longer a good player, falling to the more athletic Thunder in 6th, Ginobili in his late 30s, Parker mid-30s. The team made it to the conference finals in 17, only for Zaza to injure Kawhi after Leonard demanded out. The franchise hasn't been the same since. The Golden State Warriors 2019, 5 straight finals. Unless the franchise lands Giannis or another superstar, Steph, Clay, and Draymond already in their 30s. Durant carried the team in the playoffs before the injury, pressure to come back for the finals, only to tear his Achilles. Toronto, led by Kawhi, knocked off the Warriors, combined with a hobbled Klay Thompson. Curry then got hurt in the 3rd game of the 2020 season. Draymond couldn't do much on the court without his superstars but talk. The worst record in the league after a finals appearance, 3 titles in 5 years. The Warriors' best days appear to be behind them. Even if they still compete in the playoffs within the next couple years, they won't be as great compared to previous years. Honorable mentions includes the 96 Rockets getting swept by the Seattle Sonics in the semis after back-to-back titles. Hakeem and Drexler were getting old, while Kobe and Powell's Lakers title hopes ended in 2011, falling to Dallas. Phil Jackson retired after. What's your favorite NBA Dynasty? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching this video. I love all of you. See you next time.